dear viewer, to episode 43 of the ForbiddenCast. Oh, if only people knew how long it took me to record that. way too many. But no, here's a proper welcome to episode 43, everybody. I'm very happy to have you all back here and listening. You might be wondering to yourself, why the weird, creepy voice intro? I don't know. I've always, as a child, I always liked making voices whenever I played with like action figures and stuff like that. And as a child, and still to this day, as an adult, I still like watching cartoons, and always have. I just I personally prefer watching animated shows and films over live action stuff. Why, you might ask? Very simple. For me anyways. I feel like voice actors, like good voice actors, are extremely talented, and they can portray so much emotion just with their voice, and I think it's almost even more impressive than some schmuck standing on a set and saying a few lines and then have half of the rest of the film, if it's action film, being basically them recording grunts and sounds like that, because everything is CGI anyways, or they just have stunt doubles do a bunch of stuff. Whereas with cartoons and animated films and whatever, they can just animate all that. And the thing is like, it's like you're watching a cartoon, so if the character that you're watching is doing like a crazy backflip or something like that, or like jumping off of a building and then smashing through a window, and then throwing a kitchen knife, and you have all these crazy action shots, like in an animated context. To me personally, it seems like, oh, it's a cartoon, this stuff all makes sense. Whereas like if you get a character doing that in a live action movie, it just seems, I don't know, just really, your brain processes it as like, oh, that's unrealistic. So it's like whenever you're watching the animated character doing that, it's like, holy shit, the character looks like a badass, and I want to be like that character because that's cool. I want to be badass like that. But then whenever you watch a live action film, movie or show or whatever, and they do stuff like that, and then half of it's CGI'd or half of it is just a stunt double or whatever. Sure, lots of process going into making just that one scene and that action sequence. Very nice, very cool. But to me, in my brain anyways, it doesn't register as like this really cool thing. To me, it's just like, that's just unrealistic. Like, like, I don't know. It's very strange to me, but that my brain works that way, but it does. Maybe some people can agree with me. Probably not. I feel like most people are probably like, no, I don't want to watch a bunch of cartoons. But I am on the opposite. I think that cartoons are way cooler and way more enjoyable. And like, that's the thing too. It's like, oh, well, cartoons are for kids. I mean, like, no, not really. Not anymore anyways. I mean, maybe, in the 90s and perhaps early 2000s, but like, there's so many like actual like good animated films and shows out there now. Like, I'm not even just talking about like anime and stuff like that. Like, I'm talking about like actual just like DC movies and stuff like that. Like, I mean, hell, half of the DC like live action movies that I've watched have mostly been shit. They've been really bad. They're, again, personal opinion, but like, I think most of them are fucking terrible. But then DC has a bunch of animated movies, and for the most part, yeah, maybe there's a bunch of like plot holes and stuff like that that don't get answered are filled, but like overall they seem cool and badass. You know, like if you watch like a Batman movie animated, it's probably going to be really, really cool and dark and awesome. And then you watch Batman versus Superman, and you fall asleep halfway through the movie, and then you wake up and you watch the rest of it, and you're like, that was okay. You know, like, I don't know. I don't, I don't know. You know, of course, I'm just talking about like action stuff, but I mean, like, I don't know, even as like comedies and stuff like that, like there's a new show that I don't know if it just came out on Netflix or if it's been on Netflix for a while or whatever, but I've only recently watched it. My girlfriend and I just finished watching a series called Inside Job on Netflix, and it's really funny and it's really, really cool. It's how do I describe this? So basically the premise of the show is um the main character named Reagan. She's a woman who works at for business, like a corporation. And but what the corporation does is that it covers up everything, like all the uh stuff that people would make theories about. So I mean, like, about what was a few of them, like how the moon landing was a hoax, and um how Atlantis isn't real, and just geez, like there's a bunch of like really fun jabs about flat earthers and stuff like that, and like one of the characters from the corporation just made it up as a joke just to be like, oh, like, you know, like people will believe anything, and then, you know, sure enough, that's, you know, what happened and everything like that. So it's like it's really, really funny. And then there's even the hollow earth theory and everything like that, and the lizard people, the reptilians or reptilioids or whatever the hell they're supposed to be called. But like it's just basically this corporation covers up all that stuff, so, you know, to keep the masses at bay or whatever. And that corporation there is being run by the actual government, who, the, you know, like the United States government and everything like that, isn't an actual government. It's just like, you know, another ploy to keep people distracted. Whereas, like, you know, there's this actual shadow government, you know, with a bunch of like hooded characters who wear masks and everything like that. Like they're the ones who rule the entire planet, you know. And they just like cause shit for, you know, the sake of it, just to, you know, oh, the world's too nice this week, you know, like add someone, you know, to the list to cause some sort of war or whatever. All just to keep things running and stuff. It's a really, really cool show, and it's a comedy and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, who is it? Alex Hirsch. Um, he he's a show creator. He's a co-creator, I think, or maybe just a storyboard artist. Not a storyboard artist, but like a storyboarder for this show. But he's the guy who did the show Gravity Falls, and I really love his storytelling. It's really good. Also, I mean, Gravity Falls is another really, really good show. There's a lot of filler episodes in Gravity Falls, unfortunately, but like whenever this Gravity Falls does follow like an actual story, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's really, really good. It's a kids show, but I mean, the story is really intriguing and good. But yeah, he's a writer on Inside Jobs as well. And I think actually the creator of Inside Job was an animator for Gravity Falls, if I'm not wrong. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what her name is or anything like that. But yeah, no, it's a really good show. If you've seen it on Netflix and you were like, you know, maybe give it a try. Because I mean, I know for the most part, I mean, Netflix has been, at least for my viewing experience, it's been pretty bad. as of late. But yeah, I find myself mostly on YouTube and occasionally on Disney Plus to rewatch the uh, same old seasons of Futurama. So I mean, yeah, that's what I've been watching for the most part. And then any other time that I'm awake, uh, just like the most of you, I'd imagine, I'm at work and then I come home and make food and then take a shower and be hygienic, and then go to bed and repeat the process. uh, but yeah, so go check out Inside Job. Go check out Gravity Falls. Go check out a bunch of cool animated stuff. Like I got uh, the last time I was up at my parents' place. I had previously talked to my dad about this show that I think I've actually talked about on here already. I'm almost positive I have. But it's a show on Amazon Prime called Invincible, and it's based off of the comic series that is also named the same thing, and it's a really really good show. And again, it's a adult animated cartoon. Um, uh, it's yeah, it's really gory. It's really, they swear in it. You know, was there any characters doing drugs? I don't remember. I think there was like a drug bust thing at some point, probably. I don't know. But like it's really good. It's funny. It goes serious, and it has a lot of pretty well known actors doing voices. Like J.K. Simmons voices one of the main characters. Um, and for anybody who doesn't know who J.K. Simmons is, if anybody's watched the movie Whiplash, which surprisingly is a movie that I actually enjoyed watching that is live action. Whiplash is a movie about an inspiring jazz drummer, but like he's still in college and everything like that. But J.K. Simmons plays like the professor guy or whatever, the band instructor, and then yeah, he's just super harsh. I mean, the classic meme of not quite my tempo. That's J.K. Simmons. Same guy who does I need pictures of Spider-Man from the original Spider-Man movies. I forget what's his name, J. John Jones or something like that. Like the character's name. But yeah, that's who J.K. Simmons plays. But yeah, I love his voice. I love J.K. Simmons' voice. He's got a very strong, uh, very masculine voice. But yeah, and then there's tons of other. I mean, Seth Rogen. I think Seth Rogen is actually is a writer for Invincible as well. He plays Alan the alien, like a Cyclops looking buff alien, so that's really cool too. But yeah, but anyways, the whole point of me talking about Invincible is that my dad still hadn't watched it by the time I had went up to see him on Canadian Thanksgiving. um, uh, and I was like, they put it on, like we'll watch it, and then you know we started watching it. So it was myself, my dad, my girlfriend, and my younger sister. We're all sitting on the couch watching it, and my girlfriend ended up falling asleep while watching like the first episode, because I think they're like 45 minutes or something like that, almost an hour long episodes. And then like yeah, and then like my younger sister got up and went and got herself drinks and stuff like that, and like my older sister, who's a hairdresser, was chopping my mom's hair. And then she made the comment of like, oh yeah, it can't be that interesting of a show if like everybody's getting falling asleep and getting up to go get drinks and stuff like that. And then by like I think episode 3 of the show, everyone, even my mom, who doesn't like, kind of like rolls her eyes whenever like my dad puts on like an anime or something like that, and like walks away to go do something else. Even she sat down on the couch and like we just watched the entire first season of Invincible together as a family. um, uh, so yeah, I don't know, like there, it's that's my whole point. Is don't. I mean, I get it that animation isn't always for everybody, but don't always just roll your eyes at it, because it can surprise you quite a bit. Been going on about cartoons for 15 minutes. My God, what has my life come to? One very exciting thing that I'm very, very pleased to announce. Well, not really a place to announce. I mean, it's kind of already public knowledge, but holy shit, everybody. We've reached 100 subscribers. I think we're at 102 right now. But holy shit, 100 people are subscribed to my stupid little channel. Um, it's definitely got me in the mood. Seeing that is definitely got me more in the mood to want to push myself more to make more content. And I keep coming up with ideas of like video series that I want to start putting out. The only thing that is kind of obstructing me to do that is the time. But rest assured that videos are coming, because ideas are brewing in my mind. And I'm editing the Snow Falcon video today as I speak. So fingers crossed that will be out this this upcoming Friday. Hopefully. I've got a couple of funny little bits in there. Because that's the thing. Like I don't really necessarily like, because with the podcast I don't mind kind of just doing the talking into a microphone thing, and then slapping the ForbiddenCast logo up there, and then slapping on like the filters, and then uploading that like that. Like I don't mind doing that, but like with like the gear demo videos, like I like to put some effort into editing them. Like if I start talking and going on a tangent in those videos, like I try to cut them up and keep them short, so that it's for people who aren't very accustomed to my channel, like they just because that's the thing that I like whenever I watch a video, especially on a piece of gear that I'm interested in. I don't want to hear that person start talking about like, oh, how they feel about it or whatever. I just want to hear the specs. I want to look at the guitar. I want to see the back of the guitar. I want to hear what kind of pickups it has, what kind of tuners it comes standard with, like hell, even what kind of set of strings it comes with, like what kind of neck is it? Is it a mahogany? Is it a maple fretboard? It's all that shit. Like I'm not there. If I wanted to hear about that person, I would listen to their podcast or something like that. Like, I want my channel to be kind of open for everybody, and but that's the thing too, is like, I also want to make my videos kind of interesting, because I personally don't really like the video. I like the videos like Ola England's videos. I like it how Ola's got a little bit of charm, but he's straight to the point. Like he does something kind of silly or funny, or he fucks up at some point during the video. He keeps it in the video, but then he quickly moves on. He laughs about it real quick for a sec, and then he moves on to continue talking about whatever piece of gear that he's reviewing. And that's what I like, like that's what I try to keep with my videos. But I'm also a huge fan of like comedy channels like Super Mega and Cold Ones and stuff like that. And in those guys' videos, like there's tons of editing jokes and stuff like that, where they, like they'll add little gags in here and there, like, that they add in after they actually shoot it, and I try to add that stuff in there too. So it's like, it's a little bit, just a little bit of comedy, but then there's also the music, the actual gear stuff. I like to have that in my videos, because I'm kind of looking at the way I make videos the same way that I write music. You take all your influences, you mash them up, and then what you have in the end is the final product, which is your original thing, but you can still like see and hear your influences, like without completely just ripping them off. And that's what I'm trying to do with like my videos. So like, I want the kind of straight to the point kind of videos that I like watching, as well as, you know, Ola England does with his videos, but then I also want to add in the, goofiness of, Super Mega and all that of the comedy channels. I try to anyways. I don't know if it always, works. I mean, so far it seems to work. Like I know, so far, and I think in almost every single one of the gear demos, I've added some sort of, silly kind of thing, little edits. Um, uh, but I mean, no one's really complained about it thus far, and so I guess I'll just keep doing it until someone's like, "Hey, can you knock it off with the stupid shit? Like, I just get to the point." Um, which is what I try to do. Again, like stupid shit and getting to the point. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure someone will tell me someday that I'm a stupid idiot and I should just delete my channel and all the videos that I've made, and all the hard work that I've put into it is meaningless because I'm a dumb, stinky idiot. I'm sure the day will come whenever I get that comment, but you know what? I'll look at that comment and you know what? I'll print it out and I'll nail it to my wall and be like, you know what? All right. uh, I'm surprised I haven't had more hate comments, but you know, I'm glad also, because I feel like it would affect me, especially with my current state of mind, with how exhausted I've been with everything, just with life in general. Um, uh, I don't know. I feel like a bunch of hate comments would not bode well for me. Is bode well? Is that did I use that right? I feel like I used that right. Maybe I didn't. Whatever. Um, yeah. Anyways, uh, I mean, hell, I mean that's why William Osman, which is another YouTube channel, um, he is a nerdy William Osman. For anybody who doesn't know, well, how much time do I have left? Oh, I got time to talk about William Osman. Hell yeah. Um, it's really great. It's a really damn shame because I loved William Osman's stuff, and for anybody who doesn't know, I keep mentioning his name and not explaining who he is or what he does. On his channel, he does like he basically is like your do-it-yourself like science guy, but like he actually knows science and physics and shit like that. Like he built himself a some sort of like laser printer thing that like actually worked, like basically out of garbage that he found. um and he's a super smart dude. Like he full on like studied how the psychology of a cat for one of his videos to train his cat how to associate uh the pressing a button, which will dispense, if the cat presses the button, it will dispense a treat for him, but at the same time he has to recognize that like why he's pressing the button to put out a fire. And in turn, like he built this whole mechanism. It's crazy. You just go check out his channel. It's just literally William Osmond. Don't ask me how to spell that because I have no idea and I don't have it in front of me, so oopsie daisies. I'm trying to think of just, I mean, look up maybe not cat button because that probably won't fix anything. But anyways, it's a shame because William Osman not too long ago posted a new video where he just basically tells the internet that he's done making videos because he doesn't feel like he can anymore without being shit on. Because why he feels like he's constantly being shit on is because, well, one of the biggest things is the fact that um, at one point his house burnt down. Like he was renting a house, and then I can't remember where he was living in, but there was a huge fire, and it like in all of the state that he lived in, and then his house unfortunately was one of the ones that got caught on fire. Um, and then yeah, he like lost all of his shit, like all of his camera footage, all of his science shit, like a bunch of his tools and all that shit. Like I mean, he lost his house, and it sucked. And then I think one of the cameramen or something like that's brother was like, oh, you should start like a GoFundMe or something like that, so you can, to buy a new house, or rent a new house, or like put it towards your videos or whatever. Like just do something with it, because I mean that sucks that your fucking house burnt down. So he's just like, I mean, yeah, whatever, like open it up. Like I'm not totally opposed to it. I don't really feel comfortable taking, like, this is William saying this, like I don't really feel comfortable taking my fans like direct cash without me being able to give them something in return, like merch or something like that. Um, so like, yeah, sure, whatever. I mean, if people want to donate, then they're more than likely, they're not more than likely, they're more than welcome to, but like, I don't know. And then what had happened is William just felt just way too uncomfortable touching that money at all, because it was a bunch of strangers that he'd never ever met just gave him a shit ton of money. So he just never ever even touched it. And then William continued to just make videos as normal. And then, life goes on. You find a new place and all that shit. And that's what he did. And then what really started to bother him and get underneath his skin is that, like, some people who had donated, or maybe who didn't even donate, who were just being assholes, they would comment on videos that William would upload after the fire and the GoFundMe, and a bunch of people had donated and everything like that, would say like, oh, it's good to see that you're spending the GoFundMe money well, because I mean, even that too, like, I don't think he made a video for it, but William had posted pictures on his Instagram or something like that, where like him and his wife, eventually were able to afford to go to Disneyland. Like they were able to move into a new house and all that, get videos started going again, and get everything settled. And then they had finally made up enough money to be like, you know what, we deserve a little vacation. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go chill out and have a moment to clear our heads a little bit, And then, they posted that, and then people were freaking out like, oh, glad to see that you're spending all our GoFundMe money on a Disneyland trip, like, and just saying really shitty stuff like that, when it's just, in reality, it's his own money that he is able to go to Disneyland. He didn't even touch his the GoFundMe money at all. And even that too, like, there was people who were just basically shit talking his girlfriend, because, like, well, no, his wife. Is it his wife? I'm not too sure. But like, his significant other would be, it comes in videos every once in a while, and like, yeah, and people would just call her fat and stuff like that, and it's just like, why? So I mean, at that point, like, like, William eventually had enough of it. And like, the thing is like, people say like, oh, just don't read the comments, because there's always going to be hate comments. But it's like, it's hard not to, because I mean, even that too, it's like, sometimes with the shitty comments, you have the people who just say dumb shit, and then you have the people who have actual legit criticism, who have valid criticism, I should say, who say like, oh, okay, like, maybe try this instead, and then you can take that and use it to your advantage, like, oh, maybe try something new, like, oh, people didn't like this about that, about this video, maybe we'll try something different about it. rather than people saying like, yeah, this video sucks, like he really fell off like that's another thing. Like people were saying like, I liked William's channel before his house burnt down, and it's just like, how does that have anything to do with his content? Like, that's just so incredibly fucked up. But like you can, and it's funny too because William, the way he portrays himself on the internet, he's always just like this pretty bubbly, like happy, funny, fun, like just good going guy. And like in this video where he says like I'm done, you can tell that he actually is. He's burnt out. He's done. He's sick of it. Like you see him being like a genuine human being basically, where he's just like he's over it. Cause and yeah, I don't blame the guy. Like that would also bother the shit out of me if I had, you know, people commenting that, like, oh, your girlfriend's fat, or, like, you know, you're being a piece of shit with like a bunch of people generously gave you money and you're being a piece of shit by going to Disneyland, like how you can't live, like that. Like it's just, it's shitty. It's really, really shitty. Like no one should ever have to deal with that. But, that's the life of making shit for a bunch of people on the internet, because it's just too easy to be an asshole on the internet. Really, really is. Um, it, I was gonna say like I don't think I've ever really had to deal with internet trolls, but I I kind of have, because now that I actually think of it, there's always one thing um, that has always bothered me. There's always been one comment that has bothered me. It wasn't on my YouTube channel at all, actually. It was on my Facebook. Well, not my Facebook, but my band's Facebook, my Forbidden Messiah band. Um, Whenever I had released the debut album, uh, I had uh, I had boosted the post of the Thrasher video for Forbidden Messiah on Facebook, and I targeted most of Canada and the United States. So basically, what that is like, it's like an ad, basically, but for on Facebook or whatever, and you pay money to have it be pushed onto like random people's Facebooks and stuff. It's an ad. It's an ad. It was just an ad to promote the album and everything like that. Um and Thrasher, I had made a music video, like a compilation music video of myself and Lucas and the old guys and in who were the previous band members of Forbidden Messiah. And then like some studio footage and stuff like that, but like all like practicing and playing in the studio and stuff like that. But it's just basically a big compilation with that, with the song playing. um, and that video that I shared also was just like, oh, like these are the people played on the album and everything like that. And then whenever that ad had went out, uh, obviously at that point, like people are gonna see it, and I think the video ended up getting like a good chunk of views. And from the most part, most of the feedback was pretty positive. I mean, like sometimes it would just be kind of like, cool song or whatever. Which I mean, it's always just nice to hear, like it's nothing bad or anything like that. But there's this one comment that did actually kind of bother me. I didn't want to let it bother me because it's just so simple and not really original. But because there's one guy who had commented, this sounds like the main riff of this song reminds me of My Last Words from Megadeth, which is like, yeah, it's that riff is like basically that whole song is basically an influence of My Last Words by Megadeth and the I Stole Your Love cover that Lost Society did of the Kiss song I Stole Your Love. And that's basically what Thrasher is. You know, it's just a fun party song. And to be honest, like, Dave Mustaine's a Kiss fan, so I mean, how odd would it be if Dave Mustaine wasn't influenced by "I Stole Your Love" as well whenever he wrote "My Last Words"? Um, so it's just constantly that, influence being repeated thing. But there was one comment. It wasn't even that bad, but another person had commented, I what was it? Yeah, it was, I like the song better when it was "My Last Words" by Megadeth. And again, it's nothing really that harsh or bad, but then of course it also had like the laughing crying emoji things, which just makes me cringe and just extra angry for some reason. um but yeah, like, there's just something about that comment. Again, it's not even that bad, but it has just always kind of stuck with me, because it's just like, you don't get it, do you? Like, yeah, it's, it's thrashy. It's old. It's supposed to sound like, like, I feel proud of, being able to wear my influences on my wrist without completely ripping them off, and that song kind of doesn't, because I mean, besides the main riff of Thrasher, the rest of the song kind of doesn't sound like "My Last Word" even a little bit. So I mean, whatever. uh but yeah, so I mean, I'm sure as I continue to do, put music out, and then as well as continue this YouTube thing, I'm sure there's going to be more. But yeah, I don't know. My word of advice for today is, uh if you don't like something, that's fine. You just don't have to be an asshole about it. And you know what? If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything at all. That's kind of always been my motto about it, because people like the shit that they like for a reason, right? So why take away that joy? There's already so much shitty stuff happening in everybody's lives constantly. So if something makes someone happy, just let them be happy. I mean, obviously, if it isn't, hurting someone, if murder is what makes people happy, then maybe not let them be happy. But I mean, I think you understood what I meant. Anyways, everybody, it's yeah, this is a bit of a longer one. I kind of went on a little tangent there. My bad. This week's song recommendation, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. "My Last Words" by Megadeth. Go listen to that. I mean, even that too. Your buddy liked the song better as "My Last Words." You know what? Hell, yeah, I'll say it. I like "My Last Words" more too. It's more complex and it's more interesting, and it's got a really cool premise of a song rather than a song being about going to a show and singing a band live. "My Last Words" is about a game of Russian roulette. So I mean, how do you take something that pretty much simple and turn it into a full song with actually really cool lyrics and a crazy instrumental backing track to accompany those lyrics? Like, yeah, hats off to Mr. Mustaine. And not only that, one of my absolutely favorite guitar solos played by Dave Mustaine is on that song. Just such a complex, thrashy, all over the place solo. It's a crazy good song. So yeah, go listen to "My Last Words" by Megadeth. It is a killer song. But yeah, with that, everybody, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day or night or whatever. I've done this bit so many times. I will see you all in the next one, and hopefully I don't slack ass and I get that I get that Snow Falcon video out for you on Friday. And if I do, I hope you enjoy it. Goodbye.